Imagine it is late at night. You are scrolling through your phone, the blue light catching the tired edges of your eyes, and you see another headline. It says, AI has surpassed human creativity, or the singularity is closer than we thought. Perhaps it is a quote from a tech titan warning that we are summoning the demon, an ancient power we have woken but cannot bind. In that moment, do you feel a quiet, cold shiver of insignificance? Do you feel like a spectator at the end of history, watching a machine wake up and realizing there is no off switch? We have all felt it, that sense of being small in the shadow of something we don't fully understand. We ask ourselves, is my job next? Is my children's future being written in a language I can't read? This feeling of powerlessness isn't an accident. It is a natural byproduct of a narrative where technology moves in enormous leaps while we feel we are standing still. But to understand why we feel this way, we have to look at an old story about a chicken. The philosopher Bertrand Russell once described a chicken on a farm. Every day, the farmer comes to feed it. The chicken, being a natural student of patterns, develops an inductive assumption based on all the data is gathered. It concludes with absolute certainty that the farmer's appearance signifies food and care. Its AI, so to speak, has modeled the future based on the past. This continues until one morning. The farmer arrives not with a bucket of grain, but with an axe. The chicken's model was perfect until the moment it mattered most. This is a problem of induction, and it is the hidden heart of every AI system we use today. We are often told that these machines are uncontrollable or mysterious, but the truth is both more mundane and more profound. When we consume narratives of technological inevitability, we begin to retreat. We stop being citizens with say in our future and start being passive subjects of a digital empire. But what if the unstoppable machine is less of a ghost in the wires and more of a mirror in our hands? To find our way out of this anxiety, we have to stop looking at the flashing lights of the headlines and start looking at the reality of how these systems are justified. In the world of machine learning, there are two ways to prove a system works. The first is what we call a bound. This is a mathematical guarantee, a proof that the error of a system cannot exceed a certain limit. It is the holy grail of engineering. But here's the secret. Current AI, including the large language models everyone is talking about, almost never uses bounds. Instead, they rely on what is called an estimate. This is a statistical gamble. We take a pile of data, hold some of it back, train the machine on the rest, and then check its work against the holdout data. If it guesses right, we say it as generalized. But this is exactly what Russell's chicken did. It is a chicken in the pot gamble. Calling AI uncontrollable is a strategic choice made by those who benefit from its rollout. If a machine is out of control, then no human is responsible when it fails. If the algorithm is an autonomous demon, then the company that built it can be blamed for its biases or its destruction of privacy. It is the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card. To see through this illusion, we need to understand the 4 different ways we have been taught to see the machine. These are the 4 faces of AI ontology. The first face is instrumentalism. This is a common view. AI is just a tool, a neutral hammer. If you use it to build a house, it's good. If you use it to break a window, it's bad. It is value-free and controllable. But this view is a myth. A hammer doesn't come preloaded with the socio-cultural biases of the person who forged it. A hammer doesn't decide who gets a loan or who stays in prison. The second phase is determinism. This is the view that technology follows its own internal logic, rationalizing our lives whether we like it or not. It says AI is value-free but non-controllable. It's the idea that technology is a law of nature, like gravity, and we are just along for the ride. Then there is the most seductive phase, substantialism. This is the AlphaGo narrative. Think back to 2016, when Google's AlphaGo played Lee Sedol. In the second game, the machine made move 37, a move so unexpected and inhuman that commentators described it as having a sense of beauty or intuition. In that moment, humanity chose to see a demon, a substantial, conscious entity that had surpassed us. We personified the code because it was easier than understanding the math. But the fourth phase, the one that holds a key to our agency, is critical theory. This view argues that AI is both value-laden and controllable. It tells us that the black box is not empty. It is full of us. It is a mirror of our socio-cultural environment. When we look at Joy Buolamwini's Gender Shades project, the reality is stark. She found that commercial facial recognition systems had an error rate of up to 34% for women with darker skin tones compared to lighter-skinned men. This wasn't because the machine was evil or sentient. It was because the human choices, the data selection, the team composition, the very definition of what counted as a face, were biased. This wasn't an autonomous error. It was a concentration of human power. This leads us to a difficult question. If the machine is controllable, why are the people at the top working so hard to convince us it isn't? Consider the panic culture we see today. The open letters calling for a 6-month pause on AI experiments, signed by the very people building them. From the perspective of critical theory, this is a will to power. When you tell the public that AI is an out-of-control demon, you create a hierarchy of desirability. You make the average person feel so overwhelmed and ignorant that they feel they must summon the experts to save them. It is a way of stripping us of our agency. To understand why this feels so unjust, we have to look at the difference between conservative justice and ideal justice. Conservative justice is about our reasonable expectations, the belief that the world will work tomorrow the way it did yesterday. When an AI suddenly changes how we get a job or how we are policed, it violates our sense of conservative justice. We feel the ground shifting. In response, the tech leaders often define ideal justice for us. They ask for the power to set the new rules, claiming only they can tame the fire they started. The true big idea here is that AI is controllable. The problem isn't that the machine has a mind of its own. The problem is that it is being used as a tool for a specific kind of power. We're being told it is unstoppable so that we won't try to stop it. We're being told it is mysterious so that we won't ask for explainability. But modern research shows that LLM growth is actually becoming incremental rather than exponential. The enormous leaps are slowing down. The myth of the unstoppable machine is hitting the reality of diminishing returns. We must also confront why these machines feel so hollow, why they hallucinate or confabulate. It comes down to a concept called deference to the linguistic community. When you or I use a word like justice or arthritis, we defer to experts and the community. If a doctor tells me, "That isn't arthritis," I change my usage because I care about the truth and the social bond of language. An AI has no one to defer to. It has no community. It is merely predicting the next token based on a statistical estimate. It cannot truly possess concepts because it lacks the social accountability that gives concepts their meaning. It is a mimic, not a thinker. So, how do we reclaim our choice? It starts with a simple refusal. We must refuse to accept it's just the algorithm as an excuse. This is what we call realistic agency. We need to demand explainability not as a technical feature, but as a democratic right. Think about how a student or a professional interacts with a chatbot today. If you treat it as an oracle, you are surrendering your power to the inductive assumptions of the developers. But if you treat it as a co-creator, a flawed tool that reflects a specific, limited set of human data, the power balance changes. You are the one providing the context, the values, and the goals. You are the one who decides if the output is fair or useful. We have to move from saying the AI decided to saying the designers prioritized X over Y. This shift in language is a first step in demanding a more participatory approach to technology. We must recognize that every time we use a piece of software, we are interacting with a human-made system of values. Once you see those values, you can choose to align with them, or you can choose to push back. We must also understand that the out-of-control narrative creates an epistemology of ignorance. It is a structural way of not knowing. By focusing our attention on a demon in the code, we are distracted from the very human actors who are making decisions about our data and our lives. We are encouraged to fear a future singularity so that we don't notice the current inequality. As we move forward, we should hold on to a calm, steady truth. The machine is not our master. It is our medium. We started this journey with a feeling of being small, the quiet anxiety of the late-night scroll. But I hope you see now that the unstoppable machine is a myth we've been told to keep us from looking at the mirror. AI is not an independent entity. It doesn't have a soul, and it doesn't have a will to take over. It is a human artifact, as human as a book, a bridge, or a law. It is our values, our data, and our choices reflected back at us at a massive scale. When it is biased, it is because we have allowed our biases to be encoded. When it seems out of control, it is because we have allowed our systems of accountability to lapse. But the beauty of a human artifact is that it can be redesigned, it can be corrected, it can be made to serve the many rather than the few. The next time you see a headline about a demon in the code, I want you to remember that there is no demon. There are only people making decisions, and people can be held accountable. You are not a spectator at the end of the world. You are a participant in a new chapter of human history. The unstoppable machine is actually a series of human decisions, and we still have the power to decide. Take a breath. The blue light on your phone is just a reflection, and you are the one holding the mirror.